Alright, welcome back, you beautiful souls. This is James, also known as the Ogre Reserve. And in this video, we will be going over part 5 to what if Deku was part extraterrestrial? So, as many of you, if you haven't seen the previous parts, I do suggest you go through and check my playlist tab. I will have a playlist of that will be titled Extraterrestrial Deku. Please go in and watch previous parts before you watch this one. And for all those who have been watching the series thinking that I've made Deku like overpowered, I've watered down like his alien abilities quite drastically, because the Ellens are like, they basically can warp reality if they really wanted to. Like, if one of them was so inclined, they could warp like the fundamentals of reality in their local area. And all the material that I've found about them, they do have matter manipulation. So I'm not giving Deku that. I'm just basically I'm basing his psionic abilities off of scions from D&D. Also, she was in X-Men for, not First Class, X-Men Apocalypse, the movie. I can't remember the character's name, but the lady that can produce like sonic blades. So I'm kind of mixing those two, and how I'm explaining this is through him being part Ellen. And eventually Izuku does unlock a greater deal more power from his genetic heritage, but that's going to be later on in his life, after he's graduated UA and everything. So, like, even after he leaves UA, he's going to progressively get stronger and stronger and stronger. So, that being said, let's get into our story of part 5. Where we last left off, Izuku had ran into Jiro, and in the last part, I misspoken and say a year. I meant to say a month. So after him and Jiro like say their goodbyes and like wish each other luck on the entrance exam, Izuku goes back home thinking it's like, I've got to do this. I've got to do this. I've got to prove to myself that I can be a hero, even if people will call me a freak. I've got to do this. So Deku is confident in his own abilities, but he has a psychological thing from like the bullying when he was a little kid, that about his appearance. So that being said, we skip to the day of the entrance exam. In this, Deku's not going to trip at all, and even if he did, like, he would just automatically like fix it before anyone could catch him. So he doesn't meet Uraraka. He doesn't like meet Uraraka, but at this time when he arrives, instead of meeting up with like meeting Uraraka, he sees Ashido and Kirishima. So he goes up to them and he's like, "So you guys really did show up?" And they're like, "Yeah." And it's like, I wonder what it's gonna be like, you know? Like, it is pretty hard to get in here, but... And then Izuku's like, "Well, you guys have amazing quirks. I hope I get in." And then they both kind of like roll their eyes, and Izuku's like, "What?" And Kirishima is like, "You know, man, you need to have a little bit more confidence, man, in yourself." And Izuku's like, I do have confidence in my own abilities. It's just, this is a hard school to get into." And then Ishida's like, "Yeah, I know what you mean. Like, I'm confident in my own abilities, but hope they're good enough to get into here. And then Kirishima, being like the guy he is, it's like, you guys have nothing to worry about. You guys have pretty amazing quirks. Mine is just like I can harden my skin. Then Izuku like is thinking is like, I'd rather wish I had your quirk than the ones I have. And so like they go in, and just as in canon, everything's happening except Izuku doesn't get called out by Ida because he's more quiet and more to himself. He doesn't go off on like that mumbling tangent that he does in canon. So Izuku, like, they get to the explanation of the zero pointer and everything, and Izuku's like, okay, that's gonna be, I don't know if I can take that on, but we'll see. If the need arises, I'm pretty sure I can take it on, though it might take everything. So at this point, like, they get to their gates and everything, and Izuku sees that Kirishima and Ishido have like different training areas than him, and he's like, well, I guess they wanted to split us all up from like the same schools from in different training areas. And one thing I'm going to change in this, because the reason why they do it, they don't want friends helping each other in the exams. So I'm gonna say Bakugo, like Katsuki Bakugo, is in the same training ground as Izuku. Because I don't, there's something I want to do, and this is the only way that I can see of this happening. And no, Izuku and Katsuki aren't going to be friends. They're going to have a similar relationship that Endeavor and All Might have, basically. Like, it's going to become more of a one-sided rivalry. It's going to be like a mixture of All Might and Endeavor's and Goku and Vegeta's rivalry. So, sorry about that. So we're gonna get back into this. So Izuku like goes to the area, and he sees Katsuki standing there, and he's like, "You extras aren't gonna do anything." And then Izuku walks up, and he's like, "And you, what's wrong with you?" And then Izuku's like, "Bakugo, no, you've always been a jerk. And if you want to become a hero, you gotta change how you think." And this kind of like shuts Katsuki up a little bit, and he's thinking, wait. Because at first he's like, "Who do you think you are?" And then he's like, "Wait." And like this just even infuriates Katsuki even more. He's like, "That worthless Deku's in here? Oh, I'm gonna freaking be more aggressive. I'm gonna shine his eyes so much." And so as soon as President Mike says go, everyone just sees this kid, the explosion boy, just going to town, and they are getting shocked by this. And everyone's like looking back, and they see Zuko just casually strolling out, and they're like, "Oh, that kid probably is not gonna make it. He probably has a useless quirk." And then all of a sudden, everyone hears a loud sonic boom, like boom. And then they just see Izuku like appearing and disappearing, and they're thinking he has like a teleportation quirk, because every single time they see him appear and disappear, like they hear like another mini sonic, like sonic boom, and they're thinking, it's like, what is this kid's quirk? it seems like he has a teleportation quirk, but it also seems like he has some weird strength or emitter quirk. What's going on? And Izuku's like, I can't let Katsuki can't let Katsuki do better than me. I can't let him do better than me. I've got to beat him. Like, maybe it would help him out with, like, his personality. Because in this, Izuku, like, yeah, he was bullied by Katsuki, but at one point they were friends, and then after he, like, because there was a year in between Izuku, like, Katsuki and Izuku, like, their quirks and stuff, like, really manifesting that Izuku was picked on because his quirk wasn't really that strong. And he looked, as Katsuki would always say, like a freaky alien dude. And so, like, you have Bakugo just creating massive explosions, attracting so many robots to him, and then, like, decimating them when they get close to him. And then you have Izuku, like, just running through the city, like, the entire city, like, into areas that don't even have, the students haven't even gotten to yet, just taking out robot after robot after robot. And in the teacher's lounge, like, you have all the teachers, they're looking at these two, they're like, holy crap. Because Bakugo is just, like, so mad, like, and then, like, he's caught visions of Izuku, and this just makes him even more angry and everything. And he, like, they're going like basically back and forth, and like Katsuki's like, that's you, Deku, you freak, you alien kid, I'm gonna beat you. And then Bakugo just hears Izuku scream back, and is like, no, I'm gonna beat you and prove to you that you're not the best, Bakugo. You've always thought you were the best. Well, if you want to get into UED, you've got to do better than me. Because all those years of Izuku getting picked on by kids and stuff, and then, like, the only friend that he thought that he had, like, after he got his quirk, started picking on him too. And, like, all these repressed emotions, all the repressed anger and everything just was coming out just from, like, seeing Katsuki and how he's behaving still, and him calling him that name and everything. So Izuku and Katsuki are now, like, going back and forth, like, that's this many points, I've got this many, how about this, how about that? And then everyone starts feeling like the ground shaking, and there's a lot of rumbling and everything, and all the kids are starting to run away. Except Izuku and Katsuki, they're just standing there looking at this thing. And like they start walking away, and then, like, they hear, like, this person like yelling, help, help. And in a moment, like, Ida just sees these two launching towards this person, and Izuku, like, lifts the rubble off, and, like, in an instant, like, Izuku's already there. He's lifted the rubble off of Uraraka, and he looks up at this thing, and he's like, well, I guess I can try that move out that I've been working on. And he powers up one for all. He goes, he's like, 5%'s not going to cut this. 10%'s not going to do it. I've got to do it. I've got to do it. It's going to hurt, but I've got to do it. He powers up to a full 20%, like 20% of one for all. And if I've said Izuku can access a greater deal of One for All, I will correct it in the comments, and in the next part, I will do a redaction. So at 20%, Izuku just leaps into the air. And all of a sudden, everyone just feels like this wind building up, and then they see this giant blade-like structure appear, and they look where it's coming from, and they see it's coming out of Izuku's hand, and they just see Izuku cut this thing in half, and Bakugo's just standing there, and he's just in utter shock that Izuku's this strong, because it is explained that Katsuki wants to be a hero, but he thinks he's better than everyone. But he's not going to stand there and watch someone die. It's basically the same concept with Izuku at the beginning of the anime. Like, yeah, Katsuki thinks he's better than anyone, but he can't stand to see someone die, because even though he didn't directly thank Izuku, but like the sludge villain really got him to like think more about what it means to be a hero, and so he started to act more All Might like he's still like the asshole that we all know and love, but he's a little bit more mellow. I would say he's like, at this point in the What If, he's like what he would be like at the beginning of season 2. Like, he's still a butthole and has an anger problem, but he has shown to be someone who's dependable and pushes others around him. So, in this, like, Katsuki realizes that he's just been sitting around doing nothing. And he's like, I'm gonna have to talk to Deku after this. How did he get so strong? And at this, like, a robot comes up behind him, but like Bakugo literally just blows it in half with an explosion as he's just walking out of the entrance exam, because he's like, I know I've got enough points to get in, but there's no way I'm gonna. And so he just likes walking off, grumbling and everything, and everyone's just looking at Izuku in utter kind of like horror, because like they just saw him cut this giant ass robot in half, like cleave it directly in half, and they're like, what the actual fuck? Like, what the hell? Like, they're in like utter disbelief. And like Choco Araka, she's seen this up close, and what she saw, what people didn't see, is like Izuku was actually like, before he got to like the 20%, he had electricity like around his body, and then like right before he went to swing this blade, like all the electricity went to like his hand and out, and somehow made the construct that he was making like even bigger. And then like he swung basically, and she's looking, he comes down and like helps her up, and he's like, are you okay? And she's like, I'm okay, but I think I sprained my ankle. It's really sore. "Hey, Izuku, that's fine. Like, I can help you to the nurse's office." And she's like, "That's okay." And so he starts walking, and then the med bots come to like pick him up, and she looks at him and she's like, thank you for saving me." And Izuku kind of like smiles and he's like, "No problem. That's what we're here to be, right? I thought like more people like would go." And then she's like, "What about the other boy? Like, where did he go?" And Izuku's like, "What other boy? You know, like the kid that had the explosion quirk?" And then Izuku was like thinking, it's like, okay, she must be talking about Bakugo, but why would Bakugo run up if he thinks someone's like inferior? But well, why didn't he stick around? Why didn't he help her while I was taking care of? And he's just like, I definitely have to speak to Katsuki because we were friends, and even though I don't like the guy anymore, he does have like a powerful quirk. If only he wasn't such a dick, he could become like an amazing hero. So after the exam and everything, Kirishima, Ishida, and Izuku meet up, and Ishida's like really nervous. It's like, I don't know if I passed. Like, I did really well. Like for my count, I got like 65 points, and Kirishima's like, "You got 65 points? I only got 60." And then Izuku's like, uh, and they look at Izuku and they're like, "How many points did you get, Izuku?" And Izuku's like, I don't think I should tell you." And they look at him and he's like, "What? You got like 80 points?" And then Izuku looks down and he's like, "No." And they're like, "What? You got like 50 points?" And he's like, "No, not that." And then like, "Wait, don't tell me you got higher than 100 points." And Izuku's looked down, and then she just like, "Of course you would get higher, like more villain points." And then Izuku's like, "Well, something happened, and like I have been thinking about it like ever since it happened. What if there's rescue points? Because this is a hero school and we're supposed to be heroes, right? Why would the exam only consist of a theory exam and a villain combat exam and not incorporate hero points in a way?" I mean, at the time I wasn't thinking about it, but now that I've had time to like sit down and actually analyze like the exam, like what we did, doesn't make sense. Oh well. Hopefully we've gotten in and everything, and so like they hang out for like a few more hours because they are friends. They've known each other for the better part of like 9 years, like basically, like 9-10 years basically. And so they go home, and Izuku meets up with his mom and everything, and she asks him, like, "How did you do?" And Izuku's like, "I did well, but I kind of broke like 2 of my fingers, and then this freaks go out." And Hasashi's like a little concerned, and then he's like, "Well, it doesn't seem like you're broken your fingers." And then Izuku's like, "Yeah, that's because like they had recovery girl there, and like I'm really tired, I'm hungry." And Inko like smiles at this and is like, "Well, I could warm you up something, sweetie." And he's like, "Really, Mom?" And Inko's like kind of smiles at this, and her and Hasashi, like, Inko goes into the kitchen to like get Izuku something to eat, like just heat some stuff up and make some tea and everything. And Hasashi sits down and talks with Izuku and everything, and Izuku says, like, tells him what he did and how like it was kind of fun, and he's thinking about like going over to Bakugo's place and like really talking to him, and because he's like, I haven't seen it Mitsuki in a while, And I don't know, we live like so close to each other, but I haven't gone over there ever since I started high school. And Sasha's like, why is that? And then he explains like the relationship that him and Bakugo had, and like how him and Bakugo were sort of competing in the entrance exam. And Izuku, he's slightly worried, but then Musashi like reassures him. He's like, you know, son, if you've done what you said you did, I'm fairly certain you've got in. Especially if you saved someone, because if any hero school wouldn't accept someone that risks their life to save someone else, they're damn fools. And with that, guys, I know this is a little bit shorter than usual, and I did fluff this up a little bit, so I apologize about that. I wanted to get it over 20 minutes, and a few thoughts popped into my head that I could do between Izuku and Katsuki. So that being said, thank you guys so much for all the subs, and I do have the first episode for the 200 sub special, and I'm going to split the first episode. So how I'm going to do it, since each season of Isekai Cheat Magician, I'm going to cover each episode in either one or two episodes of the What If series, and then I will continue like once I get all 12 episodes of Isekai Cheat Magician done. That What If is basically going to be on the back burner until we get the new season of Isekai Cheat Magician, because if you guys enjoy that series, I would like you guys to go and watch Isekai Cheat Magician if you haven't already, because it's different. Like, for all those of you who have seen the Overly Cautious Hero, which is what I believe the American title is, like, you would enjoy Isekai Cheat Magician if you haven't already seen it. So that being said, thank you guys for all the subs and the comments. And so when I get 200 subs, I'm going to be recording that episode pretty soon. So as soon as the 200 sub happens, I'll be dropping the video as soon as I see it. Like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already, and enjoy the rest of your day, and see you beautiful souls in the next episode.